How are we doing, guys? So, coming back to another one of these sticking points that you guys have been sending me over every time I put a storyboard up. Firstly, thanks again for sending those in. All right, guys, thanks for jumping on. And like I say, as normal, at the end of this one, I'm going to put another question box up. So if you found this useful and you have something that you're stuck on yourself, then obviously just pop it in the box and I'll have a look. How are you doing, Bob? You're right. And obviously I'll do a video for you at some point as well. So this one kind of goes a little bit hand in hand with the last one I did, which was talking about people struggling for consistency. What's up, Johnny? People struggling to find consistency. But if you'd seen my story after I put it up, I'd done that live and then Instagram crashed and I never got to save it onto my story. So if you missed it, it's gone. But luckily, some of the stuff from this is going to kind of cross over into that previous live I did. So if you did happen to watch it, some of it may sound familiar, but it's a nice way for me to kind of revisit some of those topics that will otherwise be lost in the somewhere in the cyber world. God knows where they've gone to. How are we doing, Kaz? Thanks for jumping in. So this week, after I put my box up, I had someone send me a message saying that no matter how hard they try, they can't find time for their goals and basically help. So I'm going to go through my best kind of exercises you can do for that, but also a little bit around mental framing when it comes to your goals and a couple of kind of useful tips for you. So first, I think we should kind of preemptively state before going into this one that whoever said that we all have the same 24 hours in a day was a bit of a dickhead, basically, because no one's 24 hours is the same, right? I mean, my 24 hours now are not the same as my 24 hours before I had my son. So for someone who's, I don't know, 19-year-old at uni doing 2 classes a week, maybe like my course was 2-3 classes a week, had a lot of spare time, that person can fill a lot more of their time with things they enjoy doing because they have a lot more free time than, say, your 45-year-old mother of 3 who has to balance a full working life, raising kids, looking after the house, and all the other general tasks that can fill your time. So you're going to have less time free to kind of pursue things, right? So anytime you find yourself struggling and someone says, oh, we've all got 24 hours, just give that person a dry slap with the back of your hand and you feel better about it. And I'll feel better if you did that as well, if I'm honest. So when it comes to 24 hours in a day, obviously, yes, the day consists of 24 hours. Your 24 hours are not going to look like anyone else's. But that said, a lot of people don't have a really good idea of where their time is going in the day, right? You'll find people that they'll find time getting away from them, not realizing what they're doing. And they'll use that as a way to justify that they don't have time to pursue what they want to pursue. And there's a lot of what I would call dead time, right? It's things you spend like flicking through your phone, browsing on the couch or watching Netflix or various things like that can chew through a lot of time. They don't particularly bring anything towards your goals. I mean, they can bring value to yourself in terms of mood, escapism, whatever it might be. But in terms of like chasing your goals, they generally bring very little. And so this time doesn't really serve you, but it can take up a lot of time. Like it really can. An example that I had kind of goes hand in hand with someone that's also trying to resist change, right? So I had a friend that was trying to lose weight, and every time I speak to her about it, she would go off on the tangent of she didn't have time to do things. She was waiting for things to settle down before she would start, and there was a lot of resistance. So like, oh, how did you get out for a walk today? No, I was too busy. Okay. Have you tried to prep some food, or have you thought about what you're going to? No, I'm too busy. Work is too busy and this and that. Firstly, if you're waiting for a time for work to be less busy, you're going to be waiting forever. That's a really convenient excuse for you to never have to do anything. Because I saw someone put a post up recently I thought was brilliant. You can look at in a month's time and your work diary could be empty, and you'll think, oh, perfect, I've got loads of time, I can start next month. But obviously that diary is going to fill up because work will fill it up. So it's easy to push something off to a pasture anew down the line where things are looking like you're going to have more time. In reality, you won't. The truth is, work is always going to be work, and it's always going to be there. So it's not something that you should... Allowing yourself to think, okay, I can do this when I'm less busy is, unfortunately, and I hate to be a bit of a hardliner stance with this, it's a cop-out. It's a way of excusing yourself from having to pursue something. And there's a lot of reasons why you might do that, but the reality of it is that's the case. And with this person that I was talking to, she was telling me, like, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have the time to do it. And this conversation went back and forth for an hour. And in the end, I just had to say, I said, look, you spent an hour telling me why you can't do this. It would have taken you 20 minutes to do it. So where's the time? It's like you've been sat there with your phone for an hour telling me why you can't do this. And that kind of got her to reframe things a bit and realize that, okay, yeah, maybe, this isn't the best use of my time and I'm resisting it for another reason. And again, the reason why people will resist change is multifaceted, but one of the more common themes is that where you are now, even if you're not particularly happy with it, is you can exist there and you can find some kind of comfort within your cage. But where you want to be isn't a cage, it's unknown and it's scary. So it can be a case of you resist going there because you don't know what it's going to be like or what you have to do to maintain being there. So a lot of people won't try. They'll basically accept the fact, okay, this is where I am now, not particularly happy, but I'm not dreadfully unhappy enough to move from it. So I'll just stay here. The other thing is, again, like I say, when it comes to those dead time, right, the kind of things you've spent your time doing without even realizing it, people rarely track it. So if anyone here watching this has found themselves short of time and given themselves the excuse of not pursuing their goal for being too busy, keep a time diary. So basically, literally write down, and this may sound like really anal, but if you diary what you do every hour of the day, so basically, okay, from 9 till 10 I did this, 10 till 11 I did this, 11 to 12 I did this. At the end of the day, you have to face what you've done and be like, okay, yeah, so from 6 till 9 I sat on the couch watching Netflix. That time could be used towards your goal, but then you have to weigh up your priorities. Like, is that time sat on the couch watching Netflix of value to you to the point where you can't be without it compared to your goals? What's more important? And if you look at that list and realize, yeah, okay, these are things that I don't value as much really as what I want to achieve, then you can sacrifice those things. You don't even have to sacrifice all of them. You can sacrifice one or two of those things to pursue your goal. And there you go. Then you found a bit of extra time that you didn't realize you had, right? An exercise that I found, which was really useful for doing it. The original exercise was actually designed, I believe, for calculating income and basically kind of trying to figure out how you spend your time relative to what you earn. And it came in handy for me because it helped me kind of restructure what I'm doing. But you can use it with anything really. And I came across it during Precision Nutrition's course. It was the analogy of like your big rocks, your little rocks, and your sand, right? So you have a jar. The contents of that jar, when it's filled up, will be the hours of your day. For example, everything you can do in that day. So you've got your big rocks, which are the important things that you can't be without. You have your little rocks, which are the things that you enjoy, but don't particularly serve you, or in the scenario of money, don't make you a lot of money particularly. And you have your sand, which is things that will just fill up your time without having any particular benefit, right? Now, if you try and fill up that jar with sand, you're not going to have any space for the big rocks, or probably even the small rocks, right? you got to prioritize what goes in first. And the big rocks have to go in first. So first and foremost for you, look at your goals, what you want to achieve. Okay, I want to run a marathon. Okay, I want to run a Spartan. I want to break this powerlifting record that I set myself. Whatever it might be. I want to lose some weight, whatever your goal might be. Is that a big rock in your life? Because if it's not, you're going to have a hard time prioritizing it, right? Like if it doesn't mean that much to you, then why would you put it in first? If everything else in your life is more important, you're not going to get that done. So you have to really look at where you're spending your time and how much you value your goal, like how much it means to you. So for me, for example, like I set myself 2 goals. So 2 goals are that I want to be remembered as a good jiu-jitsu competitor. So by the time I stop competing in jiu-jitsu, I want people to like recognize me as being a good competitor. And I want to be remembered as a great jiu-jitsu coach. So for me to achieve those 2 things, right? And of course, those are not my only 2 goals. Those are my 2 sporting goals. Obviously, raising my son and various other life goals are in there as well. But these are 2 goals that people would consider potentially ones that you could cut out because they're maybe non-essential. But for me, they're essential goals. Like I really value pursuing that competition, that competitive aspect of my life. And I really value coaching and helping people reach that same level. So for me, that's a big rock, which means that I can structure my day around things that fit that. So for me, in order to be a good jiu-jitsu competitor, I have to get solid training in for myself to make sure that I improve with my competitors, right? Because no one stays static. You either improve or you regress, depending on how much time you put into it. There's no static point where you'll stay at. And that kind of tends to be the case with most things, right? So like if you're lifting weights, for example, if you miss a few weeks, you're not going to maintain the same level of strength from a few weeks prior. You're likely to lose a little bit, right? Whereas if you consistently train, you're likely to improve. There's no set point that you can magically own. Kind of reminds me of that. It's gonna bother me. I can't remember the name of the person that said it. But the phrase that success isn't owned, it's rented, and rent's due every day. So in this scenario, if you're talking about physical attribute, be it competing or lifting, whatever it might be, you don't own that. You have to put the work in every day. And again, I'm not saying like, oh, you have to go and lift heavy weights every day. Like part of your recovery is going to, like putting time into your recovery is going to help, pursue that goal. But you still have to do something for it. That's going to, how are we doing, Sarah? You're right. You're not gonna stick at the point where you're currently lifting for the rest of your life. You're gonna have to put the work in if you want to improve, right? So for me, knowing that, I have to invest time in my own training. So I have days and times that are blocked out, and no matter what comes up, that takes priority, right? Because it's important to me to the point where that's a priority in my life. But if you don't have that same connection to your goal, then, like I said in the last live, which unfortunately got deleted or vanished, then when something else comes and clashes with that, you're less likely to choose sticking to your goals, right? So if your goal is just like, I want to lose a few pounds, but I'm not particularly pursuing it. I'm not fussed about it. Then when Friday night booze with the girls or the boys comes up, then yeah, you're more likely to choose that, right? Because that might have more of an allure to you. It might, the social aspect of it might pull to you more, and it might be more in line with what you value in your life, right? So there's a chance that at certain points you're going to have a clash between 2 things that both have value to you, and you're going to have to honestly assess which has more value to you, So like if I have a fight coming up, for example, I want to do well in that fight. If my friends are like, all right, we're going out on the piss on Friday night, I'm not going, because as much as I value my time with my friends and that social, I can get that in other ways that don't hinder my other goal. So if your friends are like, every Friday night they want to go out on the booze, I mean, for one, you could suggest to them, like, can we do something else? Can we go, like, I don't know, go axe throwing? It's a lot of fun. Just try it. Go wall climbing, go bowling, go play some snooker, go, do whatever. It doesn't have to involve you getting absolutely obliterated every Friday and then ruining your goals. But and like I say, as bad as it sounds, in some instances, you have to assess your social circle, right? And this instance usually comes more when it's a livelihood on the line. So when your work and your goals align, right? So what you do for a living fits with your goals and it's important to you. Obviously, from both a personal aspect, but also from an income. It was Rory Vaden. It's never end. Thank you for that, Kaz. That was going to be playing on the back of my mind. So thanks for that. But yeah, when you have an occupation and a passion that align, firstly, you're very lucky, or at least you put a lot of work into to the point where your passion can be your profession. But so let's say you're, I don't know, a professional footballer, right? Or, professional tennis player, professional athlete of some kind, right? And you surround yourself with a bunch of friends that just want to do drugs and get drunk every weekend. There's going to be a point where you're going to have to assess, okay, if I want to succeed at what I'm doing, I can't be involved in that circle because the two things are like, they're diametrically opposed ideas that won't mesh together. And when it's your livelihood, it can be easier to kind of make that tough call. When it's just something that's very important to you that doesn't have an impact on your bottom line, it can be harder to kind of assess those, and I appreciate that. But the truth is, if your goal is really something that is important to you and you're surrounded by people that either don't value your involvement in it enough to help support you and they're trying to hinder you, you might have to have that conversation with yourself. Like, do I need to distance myself from this? Because it's making me unhappy to the point where I can't follow the goals that I want to follow. Some of the 5 people you spend most time with. Amen. Thanks for that, Sarah. It is true. So to paraphrase that one, if you surround yourself with 5 people that are absolute knobheads, then you're not gonna aspire to much, So I mean, and it sounds bad. I always harp on about this as an idea, right? But say you want to lose weight, right? You go to the office. Everyone's got those friends in the office that will come up to you and do the thing of, oh, don't be so boring, just live a little and try and feed you, right? And they're basically hindering your goals, and they may not even realize why they're doing it. But generally the reason they're doing it is because they see someone striving to change a situation and they're faced with their own unwillingness to change their situation and they don't want to see it. So if you fail it, it justifies it to them. Oh, no one can do it. That's why, it's okay for me to not pursue my goals. But if you do it, then that person has to look in the mirror and say, well, they're doing it and I'm making an excuse not to do it. So they don't want to deal with that. So they'd rather sabotage you than support you. If your circle is 5 people that are doing that and sabotaging you, it's not good. It's not going to serve you well. So for that, it's a good way to have an objective look at your group and see if they will, if they support your goals. And if they don't, then like I say, you might have to have that pretty hard conversation with yourself, or at least weigh up what's more important to you. Like how important is your goal? And again, there's nothing wrong with having a goal where your social is more important. That's fine. Not everyone needs or should have a goal that is that entrenched in their being. But then you have to realize that you might not achieve it if it doesn't mean that much to you. That's the truth of it, and it can be tough to put it out there as bluntly as that. But if it doesn't mean that much to you, the likelihood is you're not going to achieve it because there will always be something that will come up and knock the proverbial wheels off the bus and then slow it down. So you have to put yourself in a position to assess, where do I want to be? How badly do I want to be there? How important is it for me to get there and stay there? And if you realize that it's not an integral part of what you want, then you can try to get there and you may get there, but you also have to realize that you might not reach that goal. If it's really hard goal to get to, you have to put a lot into it. And if it's not that important to you, you may not be willing to put that much into it to achieve it. Another exercise that I went through. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with John Berardi. He was the founder of Precision Nutrition. He's kind of doing his own thing now, and he wrote a book called Change Makers. And it's really good. Really enjoyed it. But what he did was basically similar sort of thing as the Big Rocks, Little Rocks, right? But he was looking at it more from an occupational standpoint. He was looking at your unique abilities and the way how your day's divided up. And this was another exercise that had a huge impact on what I was doing in terms of hours I was doing with my job and how I wanted to run things. Because when I laid it out, I kind of looked at it and realized, like, oh damn, I'm, like what I'm doing doesn't kind of fit my goals. To the point where I had to shake things up a bit to kind of get to where I'm at now, and kind of make that move to go a bit more solo with things, which again is a big thing, kind of going out on your own. But what he said was basically write down. You got 4 boxes, right? In one of them, you've got your unique abilities. So those are things that you have superior skill and a passion to do. And write down all the things that fit that box. And spoiler, if what you want to achieve in your goals isn't something you're superiorly skilled at and passionate about, or then it's going to be somewhere lower down your list of priorities. Then you have your excellent activities, things that you're brilliant at but you don't particularly have a passion for. Then you have your competent ones. Those things that you're okay at, you're no passion at, and then you have your incompetent abilities, the things that you find yourself feeling frustrated with when you don't enjoy doing them, you have no passion for it, you're not particularly skilled at, right? If your goals kind of sit down in things that you're not passionate about or good at or both, the chances are you're not going to achieve it. You have to look at, okay, what do you want to do? How much does it mean to you? How passionate are you about it? And if it's, like I say, the passionate about it and the part of it being like a core part of you is probably the most important quality. So I'm going to really hammer the nail home on that one. If you don't have that connection to it, likelihood is not getting done. So you need to really have that question. Have that question to yourself and give an honest answer. Again, that would be my general advice to you. If you find yourself struggling to find the time, and like I say, you may find yourself like mad busy. I had someone, again, that was having this discussion with me, and they were giving me a big list of things, like I had to do this and this and this and this and this, and basically like kind of saying, this is why I haven't been able to do, do the thing. And I was looking through it like hour by hour, and then there was little gaps, that you spot. It's like, okay, well, this one's not documented and this one's not documented. What are you doing there? I was watching TV. I was doing this. Okay, cool. So you have this time free. And they say, oh, but I need to unwind. It's like, yeah, cool. Everyone needs to unwind. But how important is it to you when it comes to your goals? Like, could some of that unwind time be used towards your goals? And if not, fair enough. But then you're valuing your TV time more than you're valuing your goals. And that's a hard thing to accept. But ultimately, it comes down to what you value more. And a lot of people want the results, but they don't want to put the work in to get the results. They don't want to have to, wake up an hour earlier to go for a run. Or they don't want to have to go to bed an hour earlier to ensure that they sleep and recover better. They don't want to have to put a little bit of extra time in to prep their meals because they want things to be convenient and at their fingertips. To be fair, that is another kind of hiccup of the modern world. We have basically everything at our fingertips now, right? If you want to shop, you click of a button. If you post something, someone puts a like on there, you get like a little rush. It's all immediate. When it comes to pursuing your goals, there's no immediate reward for it, right? A lot of it's hard work that you don't see the results of until down the line. It's like planting a seed in a garden, right? You don't plant a seed and then expect a bloody tree to be there by the morning. It takes time. Same with your goals. But we're now in a world where you have everything immediate. So we've got that kind of dichotomy going on where I suppose it's like like you'll have that inner monologue. So you have this like cognitive dissonance where you know that things aren't going to be immediate, but you're surrounded in a world by things that are immediate, and you can't reconcile those two things. And it's a hard thing to do to kind of delay gratification. Say, okay, I'm going to do this, and it's not going to be fun, and it might suck for a while, but the ultimate reward is going to be worth more than the immediate reward if I don't do that thing. Right? So, scenario, very simple one of someone trying to lose weight. They can have, I don't know, Happy Meal from McDonald's. Not Happy Meal shit. I don't know, Big Mac meal. Better, right? Big milkshake with it. They can have that and get the immediate gratification of something that is tasty. Or they could not have that. They don't have the immediate gratification. In fact, they may feel a bit annoyed immediately that they don't have that tasty food. The delayed gratification is it takes them closer to their goal. But they can't see past the immediate want for something for the ultimate want, you know? And so you have to put yourself in that situation where you have to ask yourself, what's more important to you? What I want now or what I want most? And if most people took the time to do that, you'd all probably give the same answer in that the more important thing is what you want ultimately, right? Not what you want immediately. And you know this, but in that moment, you may not act on it because it's hard to do. So when it comes to planning this stuff out, what I want you to do, so anyone that's still watching this, if you have a goal that you haven't achieved yet, write down your goal. You can post it somewhere in your eyesight. So if you work at a desk, you can put it on your desk. Bang, there's your goal right behind your monitor. So you see it every day to remind you why you're doing what you're doing. Anytime it gets hard and you realize you want to do something that doesn't align with your goals, look at that. So, and when I say look at your goals, don't look at your goals like, oh, okay, I want to, all right, Nat, how are we doing? Don't look at your goal as something like, okay, yeah, I want to lose a little bit of weight. Look at the real deep meaning of that goal, why it's important to you, how you'll feel when you get there, why it's important to your life. You know, it might be a health thing. You want to lose weight because, you know, you've had a health scare and you want to be like robust and vibrant in your later years. You don't want to have to feel like you have to rely on people. You want to be able to take your grandkid for a walk without knee pain, without feeling out of breath. You might be a young dad who wants to play football with his son and not feel out of breath. You know, you might be, your spouse might have found a new lease in life and been like running and hiking and stuff, and you feel like you can't keep up with them. And you want to join them on this journey, right? So you got to look at the real meaning for it. So in that case, it's not, oh, I want to lose weight and get a bit fitter. It's, I want to be able to do these things with my partner and stay connected to them, so that I feel like I'm, you know, that we're close and we have this time together. Or, you know, I want to be involved in my son's life and what he's passionate about. So I want to be able to play football with him or rugby with him or wherever it might be. Or, you know, I want to live my life pain-free when I'm older, so I don't have to have people around to look after me. Have that why pinned behind your monitor at your desk, and that will remind you why you're doing what you're doing. So, you know, when someone waltzes over, like, oh, you know, we're all going out for a pint at lunch, or, oh, you know, we've got like the fuddle in now. Learned that word when I came up here, fuddle. Not the Urban Dictionary fuddle, just so you know. In Office, it's a different thing, much more PG-13. But yeah, you know, we've got the office fuddle in here. There's all, you know, the cupcakes and muffins and stuff. And when you say you don't want to go, and they give it the whole, oh, you know, live a little, you're no fun, and or, you know, realize why you're saying no. Because yeah, it's tasty to go and eat all that shit, but at the end of the day, what you want ultimately is more important than what you want right at that moment in time. And like I say, you won't always win that little battle in your mind, and that's fine. You don't have to win that battle in your mind every single time, because there will be times where you realize that, fuck it, I want one of those cupcakes, or want to go for the pint, and that's fine as well. But if your behavior is in line with your goal 80% of the time, you probably get to your goal. If it's a scenario where your goal involves your livelihood, you may want to adhere to it a little bit more than 80%. But for most people, 80% will get you there. And it will get you there without going absolutely insane. So you don't feel like you're missing out on everything. So anyone watching this, if you want an action point to kind of take away and find time for your goals, firstly, identify what your goal is. Identify what it really is and what it means to you, and how much it links with your true core values. Like, how much does it mean to you? Once you've got that, identify everything you're doing with your time. Your big rocks, your little rocks, and your sand. Hopefully your goal will be one of those big rocks. Make sure that when you're planning your day out, those big rocks are taken care of first, because they're the most important things. Something just fell off the shelf without me moving, or without anyone moving, or anyone touching anything. So I can only assume that there is a ghost, and this will probably be the last time you hear from me. So farewell, everyone. If you don't hear from me again, just assume that I've been whisked off and living the life of a poltergeist somewhere. Lost my train of thought there. So yeah, if you're, yeah, that is me now. I'm all about that ghost life. If your goals aren't one of those big rocks, then you got a problem in terms of achieving it. I'm glad to see everyone laughing about my impending doom from ghosts, from this poltergeist. You guys are supposed to be supporting me. I expected you to be, rocking up to have my back, not laughing at my imminent demise. Yeah, sorry, I've just gone off on a massive tangent there. But yeah, make sure your goal is one of the big rocks. And if it's not, recognize that, okay, you may not get there. You got to have a real strong connection to your goal. Once you identify what everything else that fills your time is, so then look at how you're filling your day. Oh, Sandra, yes, please. I could do all the backup I can get. And when you look at how you're filling your day up, if it's all sand, if it's all the little bits that don't really mean anything to you, or then you got a problem. You're not prioritizing your time right. So basically, empty that jar out. Get a planner. So, okay, here's my goal. Here's my big rocks, things that are really important to me. So this time with my family, doing this and my job, obviously, and hopefully my goal. Make sure that your day is planned around those rocks. They go in first. Once they're in there, then you've got the little rocks. So things that you particularly enjoy but don't particularly serve a purpose for you. So, watching Netflix or, whatever it might be. Once the big rocks are taken care of, then you can start adding those other rocks. And then finally you can start putting the sand in there. It just kind of fills up the rest of the time. And that can be anything. That can be anything that you don't particularly like doing, but you find yourself doing anyway. So that would be my action points for you. Firstly, get that connection with your goal. Identify what it is, what it really is, what it means to you. Once you've got that sorted, do the time diary. See how your day is filled up. Where's all your time going? Is it going on things that are important to you? Is it going on things that serve your goal? Is it going on just shit that takes up all your time and doesn't particularly benefit you in any way? If it's that, then you've got to empty that jar out and start building it again. And you'll probably find that once you do that, once you really hold yourself accountable and find out and really, really get down to the bottom of what you're doing with your time, you'll find that you do have more time than you realize. It's just probably not optimized in terms of what you're spending it doing. So there you go. That would be my TED Talk for the day. And if this one doesn't save on Instagram, I'm literally going to take this glass that's just behind this, holding my phone up. Take this glass, I'm going to put it here on the table. I'm just going to ram my head into it. And that will be that. And then I will be, oh, thanks guys. Can you set the video to share? Possibly, Sarah? I hope so. I'm a bit of a tech phobe, but there should be a way that I can do that. Although, because it's a live and it'll be quite long, I don't know if it will let me share it. But I can put it in my... Tell you what you can do? You can tag anyone that you want to see it, and then they can all become my followers and I get more popular. That will go pretty well. But if I can set it to share, obviously I will. My account's not private anyway, so you should be able to share things that I put up relatively okay, straightforward. Touch wood. I think that's how it works anyway. Even though they've absolutely bollocks to the reshare. Has anyone else noticed that? They made the reshare absolutely useless at the minute. Very, very irritating. But yeah, I'm hoping now that when I stop this, it will automatically upload. I'm not even going to type anything this time, because I tried to type something out last time and it crashed. I'm just going to hit save. Then I'm going to go back in and manually change it all. That's about as good as it goes. And if it still wants to stitch me up and not work, then I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to flip the table and lay down on my side for a while and cry. And then I'll probably do something else with my time, a bit more valuable. But I'll need to get that rage out first. Okay, so thanks for tuning in there, guys. I hope that's been helpful for you. And like I say, I'm going to put another box up after this with another question, another question box asking for things that you're stuck on, things that you want to see a video of. So anything, anything that you're struggling with, or anything that you want a bit of clarification on, I'll do a video for you. Next video is on Wednesday, so you've got Be Strong Sunday, boom. You've also got Wednesday Wisdom, so I'm gonna do another one on Wednesday for you. Those are my two video days. So Wednesday will be the next one, and I'll tackle whatever you guys send in for me. Then, if I get a couple in, I might try and hit a couple of them in one day. We'll see what comes up. I'll put it up in a bit, and you guys can shout me, let me know. Right, folks, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I'm going to now go and put the bins out, because that's the last job I have to do on Sunday, and obviously it is a bit of sand rather than a main rock. Otherwise I would have done it first thing and not last thing at night. But it still needs to be done, so I'm going to go get that done. Then I'm going to chill. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. See you there, folks.